Leee, it's a pleasure having you here.
Thank you.
You're currently working on a film at the moment. Tell us a little bit about what that film's about.
Wow. Flashback, the history of UK black music, British black music. Wow, it's taken me a lifetime to get here to do it, to be honest with you.
I bet.
Yeah, it's been about 5 years since we started doing it. The first couple of years, I was very ambitious. I thought I could do it all in 1 year and get everybody on board.
Well, there's a lot of research,
There's
isn't
a
there?
lot of research. I mean, it wasn't the first documentary I'd done before. I'd done some for SOS Children, because I'm a patron for SOS Children around the world. So I'd done a documentary in Zambia, done one in South Africa, did one in Côte d'Ivoire, and I did one in Tunisia.
Are these your own independent productions?
Yes, they are, through LJ Music. And I have sometimes I have the same sort of crew to understand the feel of what I'm going for as far as filming is concerned.
Yeah.
It's a long way from the music, it's a long way from Leee John of Imagination. It's a different dynamic. So therefore people see me at a different, they speak to me differently. There's a different approach. I love music. I've always loved funk, soul, reggae, but I love history. And history was something I felt that in the UK is very, very, as a black British musician myself, has not been exposed enough. It's always very temporary. We have UK history, Black History of the Month. I'm black every day. So for me, I truly felt that the story of so many people who've come before me, after me, during my presence as an artist in my group Imagination, with our success period, their stories needed to breathe. When we first started the project, it was about imagination. And after 6 months, I got bored.
So it's just evolved.
Yeah, because I thought there were people that I knew were dying. And I thought, there's people had so many different stories. And some of them felt really hard done by the music industry. And I didn't want this to be flashback film of, what they've done to me, da 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 da. I wanted it to be positive and uplifting, because the music is there. It's about the music. It's positive, and a lot of people can really identify to it because all of this music means so much to them. It's part of their tapestry of life, And the wonderful thing is, it's all UK and it's all British. And you know about Motown, you know about Stax, you know about the blues, you know about Bessie Smith and Billie Holiday. Well, we have our own people here. You've got your Misha Parises, you've got your Courtney Pines, you've got your reggae and lovers rock artists, you have your indie dance, you've got your house, you've got Imagination. And everyone is uniquely different. And that's the thing about doing Flashback for me as a producer and director and also a writer. And doing the research is fun, I remember when we first started, I knew Sade, and she was a model. She was modeling at Wallace.
That's right, yes.
And a friend of mine's mother was one of the designers, and then she went into music. So all these little tiny stories, the Pasadenas. Their A&R guy, Lincoln Elias, was a good friend. He signed Desiree, he signed Jamiroquai, he signed Terence Trent D'Arby. He went to Germany and found Terence Trent D'Arby, very interesting story. And he was a little runner, and he'd go to little clubs and find little bands for all the other A&R guys. And they gave him his first artist, which was Terence Trent D'Arby. And then from then on, he had a role. The chimes he found as well.
That's right, yeah.
With Pauline Henry. So, and these stories you would think are American, but they're not. They're from the UK. And so I think it's about time people know and start celebrating all this amazing talent.
So what challenges have you faced making Flashback?
Money.
The number one, definitely.
The challenges have been, I will say, the difference between older artists and today's artists is that they expect everything really quick and really fast. While the older artists know what they've been through, so they're much more giving, and they've studied the ropes. And trying to get certain interviews with some of the younger artists, they think, oh yeah, we're going to be here forever, and you can't get hold of them. And that sometimes has been the problem. And then 6 months later, they're not known anymore, and they're coming to you.
That's right.
And everybody seems to be graduating towards being part of the Flashback film. I found it has been probably easier for me in one extent because I'm in the business already. Because I like research. I'm always interested to know, how did they make that song? Who did the lyrics? Years ago when they had a thing called vinyl, or CD or cassettes.
I remember that's before my time.
Before your time. You know, I'd look at who did that and who did this, and sometimes the backing singer left that group or whatever and became a solo singer, and you buy that album, all that kind of stuff. So I've always been interested in all that kind of stuff. You know, it's I think that's what helped me a great deal when I was in Part of Imagination, because it wasn't just a situation of like, oh, we're success and that was it. We knew we had to make it continuous. We knew we had to visually be something very different and unique. That was carefully planned. It wasn't something that all of a sudden, we just thought, you know, I'd studied the industry, that sort of situation. So for me, even growing up at that time, or being in the charts at that time, you had the 5 stars, you had the Light of the World, you had the Central Lines, you know, Janet Kay, Eddie Grant, Soul to Soul, Roachford, all these wonderful people who've, you know, done things. That was just the 80s, but you've got the 60s, you've got the 70s, Joan Armour Trading, you know, amazing artists that you just forget about. And we're bringing it to light with the Flashback film.
And you've managed to get hold of all these people?
Near enough, yeah.
Wow.
I would say, yeah. I mean, it's over 400 hours, which we've timelined down to 60 here, 40 here, into different chapters, and about over 200 interviews around that.
It must be quite difficult just trying to get all that material that you want to use and get it right the way down to a sort of like an hour and a half or a watchable sort of segment.
I'm used to film because I've always been in videos in front of the camera and also behind it. So it's kind of, it becomes secondary. It's like doing an album. You want the track to be 12 minutes long, but who's going to listen to 12 minutes long, you know? So you have to edit that down. I'm kind of very much used to being a disciplinarian in what I do. So I'm very strict on myself. You know, I try, when I'm even looking at myself in the Flashback film, I was saying, oh, he's too much, edit him down, you know, that kind of situation. So I think you have to go in there with what do people want to see, what do they want? And in the 21st century, we're with the mobile. So the fact is, everybody, to keep people's attention is the hardest thing. So you have to be bam in everyone's face. And that's why sometimes reality TV takes over everything so much, because they're looking at bam, you know, Nene from Housewives of Atlanta, something like that. Because you think, oh my God, what's she gonna do next? But it goes so quickly. But the thing about the Flashback film is that it will last forever. It's basically an historical monument that I feel educationally will help the youth today and the youth coming, and also contribute to the UK and the international society and educational side of things. I think that is needed. You know about the Stones, you know about the Beatles, over and over the Who, you know. Anytime they've got a charity gig, they'll roll them out again. Well, we have our own homegrown people here who should be recognized. And I really truly mean that. I don't even mean me, there's other people there that have really contributed. You know, the Stones have used Eddie Grant's studio, for example. You know, what can I say, Still Pulse. I had a Grammy Award with Ku Klux Klan, but nobody knows that, you know. There's so many little stories that are there, but we need to now concentrate it and say, right, let's celebrate this. Not just 1 month, let's celebrate it for eternity.
Are you actually hosting this? Are you presenting on the?
I'm doing some voiceovers, and I'm editing and directing, but it's great to get input. There's a lot of people coming who want to be part of it, which relieves a little bit of the pressure. So I can stand back a bit and I can then argue and say, I like this, I don't like that. I like that, so therefore I can get other input, fresh input, young input.
Someone that's always kind of been in front of the camera performing, how have you found the transition to go behind the camera? Do you think it's really given you a good grounding?
I was always behind the camera, even in the early days, even in the body talk days and stuff. I was always nosy. I wanted to know what was going on, you know, how do I look, you know, vanity, you know. And so I was always into the visual. So it was even to the point where I, you know, said to the director, I want to come to the editing suite. No, it's okay, it's okay. I said, I want to go in there because I saw mistakes. And a lot of people disagree with me. I mean, our very first album cover, for example, with the Body Talk album, the lighting was dreadful. The makeup, what they put on us was flat and dry. It was crap. And ever since then, I thought, no, you have to be in control of your own destiny. So I was always wanting
You've got to have a finger in each pie, really.
Yeah, you know, I like writing. That's one of the things I like writing. And like I talked about SOS Children, that's a very strong thing for me to do. Giving back is something I think is, when you get to a level as I luckily have been, it's good to go to other territories and be reminded of what other people don't have. And our journey in Zambia, for example, we went on the coach. I took my band and I said, we are going to go there. I'm not paying you a wage. You're just going to have, what's this, per diems or something like that.
Expenses.
The expenses. And I said, do you want to come? Because it's going to be rough. And they said, yeah, we'll come. They all came and they had the time of their lives because they saw these children. They saw people living in villages that are not comparable. You can't even talk about it. 5 people in one house, you know, a woman who's completely, you know, she's completely AIDS-ridden, and the stories that you hear, the rapes, and she's got the kids, are horrifying. But you see it, and you're there with them, you know, and it's a long way from music and lights. It's a hell of a long way. So the music, though, brought me there. That's the whole thing, because they remember it. I remember going to Eritrea, and I met a singer there who was listening to us. She was an urban guerrilla warfighter. And she was coming to the show, and she said, Lee, I'd like you to come to my house. I'd like you to eat traditional food, because I used to listen to you while I was holding a gun and they had bullets flying around me. I was listening to you in Eritrea. So I said, girl, I'm coming to your house. And she's a musician, and she said, we're going to do a little restaurant. And there was a lovely exchange of cultures. So the music can take you way beyond your wildest dreams. It brings you into different arenas.
So as a British independent filmmaker, how have you found working with the UK film industry?
I ignore it. I think you do, because I think the British industry, the film industry, I think basically they want to put you in a particular, category. And I say, excuse my French, bollocks. Let's try. Someone said to me, oh no, you need to have this and da-da. I'm saying, let's invent something new. That's what film's all about. I was arguing with this one production company, and all they were talking was what they'd seen before. And this is what Flashback should be. And I'm thinking, but that's not the vision I see. And also, that means you're taking out all the important parts. And I wasn't trying to be protective. I just thought it was old. It was, So I think with film, with music, with art, it's to be adventurous. It's to take risks. Whether they finance you is another thing. But where there's a will, there's a way. And I think this Flashback door is opening wider, because Flashback is not just a film, it's a brand. We have a book, we're trying to do an exhibition, we're thinking of doing an educational app, so there's an app so kids can download it. The Westminster University have said, actually it's Michael Riley of Steel Pulse, he's a professor, and he wants Flashback to be, once the film is done, everything's done, he would like to have this as part of the curriculum, so that when kids from the States come over and want to take his course for music, they have a British black music educational app so they can learn about it.
That's fantastic. There's something very similar over here, Film Education, I believe.
Yes.
And they do very similar sort of things with apps and tablets. And
it's important, because the fact is we disregard things, we forget things. Things go away so quickly these days that you think, oh yeah, you've seen it last week and it's gone. We're all guilty of it. But when you have it, like I said before, you know about the Stones, you know about the Beatles, it's embedded and Britain sells it. So it's about time Britain supports Flashback and British black music.
When's it going to be finished?
It'll be finished in 2017, definitely. We should be out by then. And we expect everybody to come out there and support it, because it's not just a UK product or film, it's for everybody. It's an international film.
Are you still in the sort of shooting stage, or I know you're on the post stage, but you keep diving in and out? There's a good interview there.
Yeah, you're right. I've got it. Yeah, you said it right there. That's what's happening. All of a sudden, someone says, "Oh, that person. Oh my God. There was a guy from Birmingham. I'm trying to remember his name now. And every time I talk about Birmingham, I talk about Beverly Knight, who we did, Jackie Graham. I talk about Ruby Turner. I talk about Steel Pulse. Talk about Musical Youth, who we've all interviewed. And there's one person." And you've got to see if you can remember his name, because he's going to kill me.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now.
He's a reggae rapper, oh God, he had a big hit.
Was it the one in UB40?
No, we did him as well. What's his name again? He had a big hit, and he was an Indian, Apache Indian.
Now that's a blast from the past, isn't it? Wow.
People forget, and we've interviewed Apache Indian, and I forgot. And he has a huge fan base, And because we've done so many interviews and stuff, it's like, oh my goodness, Apache Indian, you know, there it is. So we've got to edit his interview as well, but there's a lot of that, you know. And as you just said, when we meet someone new, we think, oh my God, we've got to interview that person and stuff. But now I'm thinking, where do we place them? They've got to be in the right place. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense having them there. And also, how do people see them as well? How do they see them? How did their music affect them? Not just London, out of London. Because a lot of people I mentioned, they were from the Birmingham and out of there. We had Pauline Black from Selector and Neville Staples from the Specials. So it's quite wide, you know. And then there's a whole scene that was happening in the 70s, which I was part of, the late 70s, the whole club scene from Soho and stuff, and out of North London, Crackers and all that. So we did a whole section of the Crackers thing that was going on, because everybody used to go to Crackers on a Friday lunchtime.
What was Crackers?
It was a club, and George Power was the main DJ. There were a few others before him, but he was the main one, and we used to bunk off from school. All sixth form.
Where was it then? Whereabouts?
In Wardour Street.
It was in Wardour Street.
At the top of Wardour Street. And we used to go there, used to get a little ticket, pay 50 pence, and you'd be dancing. You take your school uniform off, have your other clothes on, dancing, 3 o'clock you're out. Some people go back to the sixth form, some people go home. And it was known, and the amount of people that went to Crackers, and then he made it a Sunday night, and I think a Tuesday night.
There was another place, wasn't there? It used to be behind the Astoria. Where Steve Strange and Bowie and all those people used to hang out as well.
Go there as well, yeah. And there was Gillies, which became Billy's in the West End. There was a famous set of clubs called the Bird's Nests, and they were really, you get the import music. They had Bird's Nest Paddington, Bird's Nest Waterloo, Bird's Nest West Hampstead, and we'd have tribes of us following in cars to all these clubs because the music was just so brilliant.
So Leee, moving you away from behind the camera to back in front of the camera. There we go. What's happening with imagination?
35 years of imagination. I'm celebrating 35 years in the business. Would you believe it? And it's gone so fast. So I've been doing shows and tours all around. I did a big show at the Jazz Cafe, which was filled out. It was like, we thought we want to do intimate places, and next year we're going to do a lot of festivals and a lot bigger places.
Yeah.
In Europe, I've been doing about 30 shows with Kool and the Gang and Earth, Wind and Fire, and we were all over the place. So I had to come back to the UK because everyone said, "Oh, you're celebrating 35 years without being in the UK." We go to France, Paris next week to do the La Cigale. We're doing a huge party there as well. And the album, I've got a new album. And that's coming out next week, and that's going to be, the album is called Retropia. Sorry, I was thinking something else there. The album's called Retropia, and you can go to www.retropia.co, and the password, I shouldn't say the password, should I say the password? Okay. The password is Body Talk.
An easy one to remember. We'll put it on the screen as well.
And basically, the album is for the fans. It was a very emotional year for me last year, and I had to really pull from my emotional sensitivities to create this album. And there were songs that I'd written before, which I never put on any albums, but I'd sing live. There's a song called Make Your Mind Up, which ironically got us our deal with BMG in the 80s. We'd left our small label, went to BMG, and the A&R guy, Peter Robinson, he loved this record. Make your mind up! It was really gospel, and it had this kind of Ashford and Simpson feel. And even now, people think they know the song. So it went on and went on and went on. We went and recorded this whole album called Closer in America, and we never used the song. So now it's on the album. Then I did my jazz album, and I had a track called Solitude, which is very Latin. It has a very, we're in a private solitude, very Gilberto Gil sort of feel.
Yeah.
And then a track I had out under another name in the 90s called Fantasia, which a lot of record buyers know, the DJs know. It was called Fantasia, and it was by Johnny X on one side, I think Carmichael on the other side. But it was like, had an NWA loop, which I think they ripped off from James Brown.
Okay.
So it was like really sought after, and no one could get it. So now I redid the whole song. And then there was another song called Utopia, which in my jazz shows I've been doing a very long time, and that is a very epic track. And what I did with this album, I used a lot of real bass, real guitar, a lot of keyboards. I have a duet with Mike Lindup from Level 42, done a version of City Wonder Visions. Blue from Incognito's playing guitar. Mark, oh my God, Malarkey, a fantastic bass player. He's, I think he's Natasha Watts' his husband, I think.
Lipinski?
No, Watts.
Natasha Watts?
Is it Watts, the singer? Is it Watts? Natasha? Natasha?
You've lost me there.
She's a soul singer.
Oh.
anyway, her husband is playing bass on the album, and he's Bob Malarkey. He's like really amazing. He's really, really cool. And I've done a very special version of an AC/DC song.
Oh.
So you've got to check the album out.
Oh, that's like moving genres around, isn't it?
Everything's unreachable. Everything is reachable. Sorry,
Yeah.
everything is reachable. So with this album, it has quite an eclectic dynamic to it. So it's like when you said put vinyl on and you listen from the beginning to the end, and you have different feels and flavors, but it takes you on a journey, and that's what the Retropia album does.
And what about the guys you work with in Imagination as well?
I haven't really seen the original
You don't
guys.
see them?
Not really, no, because one's in the Far East, and the other's off to see the Wizard. So I don't really see anyone really. I mean, I thought of having a reunion about 5 years. I thought about it for about 10 minutes and said no.
You're obviously a man that works behind the camera, but you also spend a lot of time in front of the camera on stage. You travel the world, you get interviewed with various different presenters, journalists, everywhere. As someone that is sort of like in the hot seat, being interviewed by presenters and journalists, what do you think are the key sort of main sort of like things, the important factors to consider when being interviewed?
I think the key factors are knowing about your subject, knowing their history. I've been interviewed by some people who have no knowledge of where I came from outer space as far as they're concerned. So, and they've been going, oh, they only know what they heard, or I like the song Just an Illusion, and you know, and that's it. So I think you need to really check not just what they have done, but even more than that, because to each artist there's so much more behind them. You know, you really need to really investigate their lives and embrace it, so that when you do speak to them, you react like you are enjoying their lives, so therefore they will also enjoy speaking to you.
And they give more, they open up.
Oh,
more.
totally. So it should be you know, relaxing. You should feel comfortable. But I think the knowledge is so important.
Have you got any sort of like memorable interviews that you just think, that one's always going to stay in my mind, apart from this one?
Oh my gosh! Oh wow! Interviews. I have funny ones with Imagination. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, definitely. I got one in particular that was in New York. Oh my! I shouldn't say that because the other guys will kill me. But it was Ashley used to have many different hairstyles, and he sometimes would weave things into his hair and everything like that. And and we were at the office of BMG in New York, and we had this interview, and they were filming us and everything. And he kept shaking his hair and all this sort of stuff. And then all of a sudden, something fell off, and I had to go like that in the middle of the interview. And it was like, and the other guys looked, and he's talking, and he's shaking his hair, and I'm looking with the eye saying that we're looking underneath, and I'm missing this piece of hair. And it was hysterical. It was so funny.
And he didn't notice.
He didn't know. And then what I did, I took the piece that he had, kept it, and I taped it to his hotel dorm. So there's loads of things. Oh my goodness. Interviewed in the most strangest of places, in Switzerland on a ski slope thing. That was, I thought, why? Why? It was for this show. I think it was like an MTV sort of show.
Oh right, okay.
Some weird ones.
Not on top of the O2 yet.
No.
That could
Definitely
be the
not.
next
Could
one.
be the next one. We did do, oh yes, we did a Cutty Sark ship in Italy, and they took us all out to sea, all these artists, and they interviewed us, and then they made us jump off the ship to swim back to shore so they could film us.
Straight after the interview?
Straight after the interview.
Including the presenters as well?
Everybody, we were like in swimming trunks and everything like that, and we just thought we were going to party on there, and they said, no, we want you then to jump and swim back. I'm thinking, suppose I drown. I think, are you serious? And everyone was looking at each other. It was seriously, it's true. This is it. Only in Italy this would happen. And they had to make sure the ship was far out because it's heavy, and So we're looking, is there any sharks or anything? It was hysterical. So we jumped back and we were all fighting to get back to the shore. And they were filming us. All for sensationalism, early TV, Oh God, TVs, I've had some experience. And bad outfit numbers, oh my God. There was one where I looked like a rabbit. It was awful, not rabbit, but I should even mention this one. It was like we had a designer called Brian Clark, and he designed some of our early imagination costumes. One of them was, the Italians wanted, it was Italian TV again, they wanted a Christmas outfit. So they wanted like funky imagination Santa Claus. Oh boy. And he was late. He was really late doing this outfit. So he made the guys, they had little tunics and satin things with blue fur. Not white, but blue. And he ran out of fabric. So he made, at that time I was doing a lot of I don't know if you remember some of our outfits where I used to have one leg long and one leg short. So I'd have one of those numbers.
Some of the outfits were quite way out there. We were looking earlier.
They were. And I can still fit into them now.
That's good.
And basically what happened was he made this outfit with a different fabric, different to the other guys. And so the fabric looked a bit like what your mother would wear. It was like the fabric, it was not really, and he didn't measure to see whether I could fit into it. And he was smart. What he did do, he was late to get to the airport to deliver the outfit, so he brought them to us. So when we got to Italy, we just thought, they'd be okay. I didn't bring anything else to wear. So all of a sudden, I saw this thing, and I put it in, and I had my one leg here, and this was up here, and it was so tight, I looked like a bunny girl. All you need to put is a tail on me.
No.
Seriously, it looked like a bunny girl outfit. And I was like threatening, I was not going to do the show, I tried to hide it with some fabric. Yeah. It was the worst ever outfit. And I remember giving that to Ashley's dog, my bass player's dog. I said, put that on the dog, So there's been some, besides interviews, there've been, loads of things else to go with it. It's been fun. It has been fun.
So we talked about Leee now in front and behind the camera and imagination. Tell us a little bit about you. What do you like to do when you're off duty?
Sleep. No, I mean, I like to be with my close friends. We like to go to restaurants. I like swimming. I like a sense of meditation, but I'm always investigating. So I'm always looking at films and stuff like that. And I need to clear my brain. So sometimes I look at the most strangest things. I go through catalogs and stuff, like I'm looking at the whole season of 24 or something like that. At one point, when we were on the road in the early days, I couldn't sleep because we were doing late shows and we finished at 11:30, and we always had bodyguards and protection, and they wouldn't let me go out of the hotel. So I used to buy all these books, and I bought the whole book of MGM, the whole book of RKO, the whole book of Warner Brothers, and I'd sit there reading page per page. So I knew who all the directors were, who was in the Goldwyn Follies of 1930, ridiculous things like that, but not knowing later on that this would all be useful, so all that kind of stuff, the story of soul, the story of Stax. So I was always into that. So I still kind of, my days off, I'm always keen on stuff. And because of...
so that's kind of helped you with your
totally.
film project.
I mean, I've been watching documentaries for a very long time. There was a film called Brown Sugar, which Billy D. Williams, the actor, was the narrative on it. And it was about all these beautiful black women through history who'd contributed to American music or arts or the theatre. And it was done so beautifully. It was like watching a portrait, and you thought, wow. And I thought, if we can make Flashback something like that, so it represents something positive, something uplifting, so that kids and other people can see it and think, wow, this is something, I'm proud to be a part of. And that to me is what it's all about. So for me, I'm always searching for something new, something different.
We live in an amazing capital, London. What's your favourite place here in the capital?
Home.
Apart from home is what I was about to say.
Well, London has changed so much.
It's constantly evolving.
Yeah, it's evolved. I used to like the marketplaces. I used to like to go down Portobello, and we used to get loads of our old clothes there and stuff. I used to like all that. But even that's changed. It's become really commercial. So interestingly enough, I've gone down to Shoreditch, and I'm interested there because I'm seeing a lot of new designers popping up there. That seems to be quite interesting until they make it too commercial and the prices go up. I mean, you know, London's is really changed a lot. I like to see new artists, new fashion people, because I'm into the clothes as well, and seeing what new people come up with. But it seems like the media grabs hold of these people, and before they even have time to grow, like in the record industry, and they throw them out there, and then they throw them out again. So it's you know, and I don't know. The part of London where I live. I like in London, you know, because it's quiet, and that's what I like. With all the hustle and bustle I do, I think as you get on in years, 30 plus, I think you look for a little bit more peace in your life. I think it's a little bit of, as my song says, solitude.
You can dip in and dip out.
Yeah, I can make noise when I want to. You know, we have a great time with my friends. We have a great time, drink lots and lots and lots of champagne, and enjoy life.
Sounds good. When can I come around?
Soon, very soon. After this.
So you travel the world, you go all over the place, your feet don't touch the ground, to be perfectly honest. I was looking at your itinerary actually earlier on, it was like, my God, you're certainly clocking up the air miles. What's your favourite place on the planet?
I used to like Bali. I've had wonderful experiences in Bali. I want to go back, and every end of the year I used to go, but I haven't had time. So it may have changed since I've been there. But we went there actually in the mid-80s, and it was barren. I mean, I'm telling you, you couldn't see, you see a light here, a lamp, and then over there you see another lamp, and that was where your hotel was. And then later on it started to get more and more and more and more industrious. But I love Italy, but I've got a place in Spain called Benicassim, near Valencia, and it's beautiful.
Lovely.
It's very, very right by the sea, and it's just it's not English, it's very Spanish, it's very native, and you know, you eat their food, you go by their standards. And that's what I like. The Caribbean, of course, I come from St. Lucia. My parents come from St. Lucia, so I love it as well.
My favourite island.
St. Lucia?
Yeah.
Ah, so you go to Rodney Bay?
Of course.
And Gros Soleil,
yes.
jump up and drink a lot of rum.
But one last question I want to ask you, okay, and it's going on to reality TV, okay, because that's the way things seem to be going here in the UK. We're obsessed with reality TV, with all these sort of like Big Brother style programs and The Real Housewives and Made in Chelsea and all that sort of stuff. I want to talk to you about talent shows and where you came from, because you are a musician that's grafted. You've put pen to paper. You've been out. You've done your gigs. Now it's more about people coming up through talent shows. What are the drawbacks there?
When I was growing up, you had talent shows like Opportunity Knocks, and you had new faces. And you either wanted to go on them or you put them down because you thought, I don't want to do all that. It was, some people thought, oh yeah, let's go on there and become a big star. And that seemed like the easy way. And I must admit, I was a duo, and I got signed when I was 14 to EMI. And we were pushed to go on Opportunity Knocks, and we didn't get on it because my partner, who was part of the group, he was too glamorous for anybody and didn't want to rehearse. And Huey Green asked us to sing a particular song. I remember it, Steam Heat. I got Steam Heat. And he wanted us to do this song.
Yeah.
And my partner in the group was saying, no, we don't want to do that. It's not funky. It's not us. We can't do that. Rebelling. And months passed. I said, if we don't rehearse this, whatever. Anyway, cut long story short, we went back. And Huey remembered. He said, have you got that song for me to sing? And we said, no, we've got another song. He said, well, it better be better than that, because I want you on that show singing this song. We sang Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, a Marvin Gaye, Tammy Terrell song, and it was Thank You. So I thought, you know what, this isn't how I see myself. I need to know about my craft. I need to know about what I really want to do. I don't want to be in a talent show and someone telling me what I should sing on, And I did the bingo halls, I did the working man's clubs, I did sessions. I did loads and loads and loads of different things, building up way before Imagination. People knew me way before Imagination. And I'm very proud of those days. So with the steel band called the Sun Valley Serenaders, which played down Brixton every Thursday night. I was a singing waiter, where the waiters of Encore. You know, that was a wonderful learning trade for me. I got my equity card by doing that, and I was surrounded by professionals, and I was the only black guy in the whole troupe, and we learned from Cole Porter to Rodgers and Hart to the music from Hair and mixed it up because I was American. So that kind of learning ground you can't ever, you know, get like today. With the reality shows like you have that, you know, the X Factor or whatever they may be, there are a few people who have benefited from it, and I think, okay, yeah, but now people know what's going to happen, and there is no industry anymore. There is no industry to say, okay, we're going to nurture you and make you something that the world will will fall in love with and like. The natural organicness to me is much better, and I think that doing things on an independent label with good distribution, finding your own promotional people, buying. I think what you have to do is you need to finance your own career now, and that's what's important. You can do it on the internet, but some people visually look great on the internet or Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. They look great, fantastic. But then after that, can they actually sustain it on the live stage? Because that's what it's all about at the end, live. And the live music side is what's important. But I think initially when they started to do these programs, everyone was all excited, oh my God, you know. I mean, I know Leanna Lewis very well, I know her family very well because her father went to school with me, and she did extremely well. You know, she's just been in, she was in...
A musical, wasn't it?
In America. She was in Cats, and, you know, got a lot of praise and stuff, so that's good for her. Some people survive, but a lot of people have fallen by the wayside. I think the next reality show is going to be about all the people that have fallen on the wayside. You know, what's happened to all these people who've been on reality shows, you know, whether they've been on I'm a Celebrity or Big Brother. What happened to these people? What did it do to them? That's the new reality show, and that's what people buy into.
And final question, okay, if you had to go into a reality TV show, which one would you want to do?
I did a type of reality show already,
Ooh.
so I don't need to go into another one. I did Reborn in the USA.
Ooh.
In 2003. You should know that. Hey, hey, hey.
I did know it. It was on the tip of my tongue.
Ah.
I was thinking UK reality TV.
That is
show.
UK.
Is it?
Yeah, it was done by ITV.
Okay.
We had Tony Hadley, Sonia, Elkie Brooks.
Oh, I love Sonia.
Go West. There were so many people on the show, but we did that, and it was one of the early ones, but it's supposed to be more rock and roll. They said we were going to have a band on the road with us, and then it turned out to be they were doing playback.
Oh, right.
And we were going to different towns all over America. But it was a great experience, but some people, they didn't think it was so reality, because I don't know why, but they were trying to, in actual fact, the crew were trying to play us off each other, and we weren't buying into it. We've been doing it a long time. So we said, you know what, we're going to Cleveland, Ohio, we're going to New York, and we're having a good time. We're going to New Orleans before the flood. We went to Atlanta, we went all over. I thought, yeah, I'm being paid for this is great.
Yeah.
So for me, that was enough for me as far as the reality show, and unless I'm doing, say, a cooking show or something like that. But, I think that, to be honest with you, I think the Flashback film represents a lot more of what everyone has done. It's a huge contribution, and I think I've got this torch in my hand, and it's so important that I carry it strongly, properly, and honorably. So for me to go and do something that's kind of, bringing it down to a low level, it will misrepresent what I'm standing for and my beliefs.
Cool. Finally, where can people find out more information about your film and when it's coming out?
The Flashback film you can go on as people say, they don't say that anymore, but I still do. Flashbackprojectuk.com. All the information is there. There are trailers there. There's an interview of me there as well on there. And you can contact us through the Flashback Project website. And on it, you can see everything. And if you want to be part of it, because we're still raising funds, we're still trying to get as much as we can, want to get more influence in it, because it's an international project. It's a project that I think that the world needs to be a part of and know of. And I think if there's people with some good money out there and you want to invest in something that is really a lifetime film, it will change your life. then invest in flashbackprojectuk.com.
And all the information is on the bottom of the screen. Lee, it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. It's a
Thank
delight
you.
to see you.